Here are the main topics for Chapter 4. We're going to do this review sheet in class the day before the test, but I just want to go over it out loud for anybody that wants to listen to this again. So the numbers that are divisible by 5, the rule for 5, the number either needs to end in a 5 or a 0. So this number, and this number are all divisible by 5. The rule for 3 is you need to add up the digits. So this would be 5, this would be 2, this would be 3, 11, and 6. And if that number is divisible by 3, then the entire number is divisible by 3. So this is 3, that's divisible by 3. This is 6, that's divisible by 3. Number 3, circle all numbers that are prime. So prime numbers, you can't have any other factors besides 1 in itself. So 2 is prime, 3 is prime. 110 is not prime because you can divide it by 2. 116 you can divide it by 2. 17 is prime. 4, circle the fractions equivalent, so equal to 1/5. So if you reduce these to write in simplest form, let's see which ones are 1/5. Well, the first one is a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So this is 1/5. 2/10, you can divide the top by 2 and the bottom by 2 to get 1/5. Negative 3/15, you can divide the top by 3 and the bottom by 3 to get negative 1/5. And the last one, you can divide the top by 10 and the bottom by 10 to get negative 1 over negative 5, which is 1/5. So two negatives make a positive. So the numbers that are 1/5 are negative 1 over negative 5, 2/10, and negative 10 over negative 50. Number 5, if you have to list the factors, you want to do a factor rainbow. So 1 goes with 80. Does 2 go into 80? Yes. 2 and 40. Does 3? No. 4? Yes. 4 and 80 is 20, because 80 divided by 20 is 4. 5, 80 divided by 5 is 16. And then 8 and 10. So those are all the factors. So think of doing the factor rainbow. And then number 6, simplify, write with positive exponents. So whenever you have a negative exponent, to put it to the bottom and make it a positive exponent. 2 doesn't have a negative exponent, so 2 still stays on the top. But x to the negative 5th is a negative exponent, so you put x to the 5th on the bottom. C, you're going to subtract these exponents, so it's x to the negative 2, and then you want to write it as a positive exponent, so it's 1 over x squared. And then 7, write each in simplest form. So you want to think of the greatest common factor. The highest number that goes into 8 and 12 is 4. So divide the top by 8 and the bottom, or divide the top by 4 and the bottom by 4. Oh, I wrote 8 again. So 4 and 4. So 8 divided by 4 is 2. 12 divided by 4 is 3. Second one, what's the highest number that goes into 8 and 16? Well, I divide the top by 8 and the bottom by 8. So the top's going to be negative 1 and the bottom's going to be negative 2. But negative 1 divided by negative 2 is positive 1/2. Letter C, the highest number that goes into 12 and 18 is 6. So divide the top and the bottom by 6. So it's negative 2/3. And then number 8, evaluate. So make sure that you're plugging in numbers in parentheses when you're evaluating if they're negative. So negative 2 squared plus negative 3. Well, negative 2 squared is a positive 4. 4 plus negative 3 is 1. And then B, negative 2 times negative 3 all over negative 2. So negative 2 times negative 3 is a positive 6. Divided by negative 2 is a negative 3 is the answer. And then letter C, x is negative 2 minus y is negative 3 over negative 3 squared. So negative 2 minus negative 3 is negative 2 plus 3, which is 1. Negative 3 squared is in parentheses, so it's going to be 9. So the answer is 1/9. And then the last one, D, is x, put it in parentheses, negative 2. Y squared, put that in parentheses, negative 3 squared. You need to do the squared first. So negative 3 squared is negative 3 times negative 3, which is 9. And then negative 2 times 9 is negative 18. Okay, these are the type of problems that you could use a calculator for if you want. The other side you want to do without a calculator, very carefully with the negatives. So number 1, if you have to list all the factors, you do a factor rainbow. So 1, 24, 2, 12, 3, 8, 4, 6. And then, factors of 36. 1, 36, 2, 18, 3, 12, 4, 9, and then 6. So the greatest common factor is look at your bigger number. So which one is the highest number that's in common? So if I start at, I'll start at 24. Does 24 go into 36? No. Does 12 go into 36? Yeah. So 12 is the greatest common factor. And then down here to write the prime factorization, this is when you want to do a factor tree. So do a factor tree. So 48. Two numbers that go into 48 are 6 and 8. 6 is 2 times 3. 8 is 4 times 2. 4 is 2 times 2. So you circle all of the prime numbers at the bottom. And when you write the prime factorization, you're going to pick a number 2. There are 4 2's, so it's 2 to the 4th times 3 is your answer. And then 120. Two numbers that go into 120 are 10 and 12. So 10 is 2 and 5. So I circle those. 12 is 6 and 2. So I circle the 2. And 6 is 2 and 3. So when I write the prime factorization, it's going to be 2 to the 1, 2, 3, 2 to the 3rd, times a 3, because there's a 3, and then times 5 is the answer. And then down here, 4, show all of your work with these properties of exponents. So letter A, you're multiplying these. So what you need to do is multiply the 2 and the 6 to get 12. But then you add the exponents when the bases are the same. So it's b cubed, and we still have a c squared. Letter B, there's actually a 1 at the bottom. So when you're dividing, you're going to subtract the exponent, so it's h to the 4th. Letter C, you have a fraction involved, so you make a fraction bar because of these numbers here. You want to think of the greatest common factor of 9 and 36, the highest number that goes into 9 and 36. Well, 9 goes into 36, so we divide the top by 9 and the bottom by 9. So 9 divided by 9 is 1, 36 divided by 9 is 4. So you have x squared divided by x. That's going to be x on the top. 2 minus 1 is 1, so it's 1x to the 1 over 9, or you could also write it as x divided by 9, same thing, because this 1 will just cancel out. And then D, any number to the 0 power is 1. E, these two, we're going to multiply 4 times 3, so it's a to the 12th. And then we're going to multiply 7 times 2, so it's a to the 14th. And then at the end, you add them. You add the exponents. You keep the a is the same, so it's a to the 26th. Letter F, you're going to multiply 8 times negative 2 is negative 16. And then you're going to add these exponents. Negative 2 and 4 is 2. So it's negative 16x squared. And then G, put a 1 right here. You're going to add these exponents. B1, B2 is B3.